What's up, Starcraft fans? Today we're doing the tier list for explosive results on Hammerland. Brian, let's hear the mutation.
Void Thrashing is the map where we have to destroy 10 Void Thrashers before they destroy Sergeant Hammer's completely useless fortress. Each set we destroy reveals the next, unless we take too long and they spawn anyway. Random nukes drop near your forces. Hybrids nuke upon death. The rest explode upon death.
Lots of explosions. Speaking of explosions, we have an explosive player, Tutu, in the cult today with us. Tutu, how are you? Great, not explosive.
Very explosive.
Very explosive.
Very explosive.
How do we rank the commanders this week?
This week is all about dodging explosions. So commanders who can move around, who have a way to like I guess if their units are fast and they can dodge the going nuclear nukes, the mad nukes, and the self-destruction, then that's good. And if their air units or if their sniping methods aren't very good, then they're gonna get a lower score.
Yeah, I did put it similarly, except for me, it's not just dodging. Like, if you don't have the trade value for getting in and destroying the Thrashers, like, for example, if your units don't care about nukes, then you'll be fine. So, it's a little bit of that. The other one is, the most annoying part of this map is, it's short. Like, 15 minutes is already considered long for a completion time here. And there's a choke point in the entrance of the last Thrasher area, where it's kind of annoying to get through if you haven't whittled down the enemy. So, part of my metric here is also how well you're able to get into that area and deal your damage. Let's begin. Abathur, where do we have him?
All right, so I just want to start off by saying I think a lot of people, not just Abathur, but I think a lot of people, they have a misunderstanding of the rankings because they think like there are 7 tiers, so that they all should be used, and like F would be the worst of the week, S would be the best. But the ranking system is not relative to each other, it's relative to the mutation. So a B rank means that if you were playing and your ally wasn't doing much, you can still carry, especially if you play well, you can carry, and if you're not super good, you can still contribute quite a lot. So it's not like B is bad or anything. So yeah, I think people need to understand that I read comments like, oh, this is for solos, kind of, but not exactly, because the ally is too big of a factor. So like if you're using a strong commander and your ally's playing very well too, it looks like you're just contributing equally, which is fine. Then it becomes like which commander is easier to use. So if you're using a weaker commander, you have to work harder just to get the same results as like a S tier commander.
Something like that. Okay.
Yeah. Anyways, so for Abathur, if you're going from the front, you're gonna dodge a lot of explosions from self-destruction, which sucks, and you have to dodge nukes. His sniping is really slow, and his sniping is really slow, so it takes a while because you need like 3 Leviathans if you're getting them, and then Guardians. And Leviathans are kind of slow, but luckily they can take some hits. And his toxic nests also get blown up by self-destruction, so if you put them too close to each other, they will just get wrecked by attack waves.
Yes.
Yeah, I still think like no one really has a hard time here, but Abathur's like Brutalists, they don't heal when they attack, so they get really hurt by self-destruction.
Yes.
So yeah, I don't really think he's great, but he's still a B.
I actually had Abathur in C because I don't think he's that good at getting in and just dealing the damage that he needs to without necessarily risking his own forces too much with explosions everywhere, especially the big hybrid. It's kind of hard, but I guess you could move it up to B if you factor in Viper usage to prevent enemies from shooting you, and kind of you can scare away the big hybrids so that your forces are less vulnerable to getting nuked. That's my big concern for Abathur, the hybrid nukes. I mean, aside from getting your first ultimate evolution, the hybrid nukes are kind of dangerous because your Mulists are short range. Guardians, I guess, are long range enough that they don't care, but the fat guy, the hybrid dominator, and the hybrid destroyer both walk into range. Of course, the hybrid destroyer is a smaller nuke, but like I still think that's a threat. So I had him in C, but I guess I'm okay with B. It's not too much of a stretch to put Abathur in B for me. So I guess we're gonna go with B. Prestige wise, I think no prestige is the best here, because if you were going for Guardians, you don't want more expensive Guardians for no real benefit, right?
Yeah.
No prestige.
I would say so. Yeah.
Okay.
No prestige.
No prestige. Let's move on. Alarak for me is also a B. He does have a means to get in the mothership with the destroyers. So Alarak's just gonna be basically home defense with the overcharge, and the main offense will be the mothership and the destroyers. My concern with that is, for example, you're fighting Zerg, the fourth base would be pretty hard because there are Vipers and stuff. So it's not that easy, but you can definitely chip away at them by just going in from the sides, baiting out a few units at a time until there are not much guys remaining. And of course, you also have that vanishing trick, the teleport. If you get cornered and are targeted by a nuke, that's a way to just preserve your forces. But not really strong enough for A for me. So just B. How about you?
I think the destroyers are like really fragile too. So any storm or parasitic bomb will just damage them a lot. And if they storm more than once, you're gonna lose a ton of stuff.
Yes.
And like so destroyers by themselves aren't super strong, and it's mostly the mothership, and the mothership's gonna take a lot of hits because it's in the front.
And it has a large hitbox, so it can get targeted by nukes, by they're going nuclear. So yeah, right.
Yes. I put Alarak in B as well.
Okay, unanimous B. It looks like since we need the mothership, you only have one option for that. That is the third prestige, Shadow of Death. Without prestige, think Alarak goes down to C. I don't see any options for Alarak if it doesn't have the third prestige. That's not painful.
I guess I should add that like you don't have to go from the side. You can go from the front, but then you just have to dodge a lot more stuff.
Yeah, very
from the front,
difficult.
and you have to clear more stuff. So if you can, then you can use Alarak as well, which is okay. But like if you're using, you will need a war prism to reinforce, and if they're like nuking you while you're trying to warp stuff in, that's a problem. If you're using Wrathwalkers, they have to like meet up, and they might get nuked along the way, which sucks. So yeah.
If I had to use Wrathwalkers here, I would probably just rally them straight to Alarak. If they get nuked, I would rather have the rallying Wrathwalker nuked than the rest of my army nuked. So if they make it, great. If they don't, too bad. I'll just have to wait for the next one. That is if I have to go for Wrathwalkers. I think the Ascendant option, or the Slayer option even, might be superior because they can just blink after sniping down the hybrids so that they don't eat as much damage. Anyway, Alarak and B. And your best option is obviously the third prestige, Shadow of Death. Let's move on. Arcturus, where do we have him?
So with just like the last time we had a Void Thrashing mutation with environmental mutators, you can hit all but the far two Thrashers from your base within the safe zones. Your main, your natural, and your allies' natural. You can hit everything. So yeah, if you're using P1 to get the last two, you can either use like a BC teleport or just keep Contaminate Strike until everything is dead, and then drop some units inside.
Yes.
It's very, very easy, and your bunkers are safe from going nuclear. And if you get hit by self-destruction, you can just repair, or you lose like one bunker every attack wave. I'd put them in S.
I also have Arcturus in S. I actually prefer no prestige here, or no prestige or third prestige. So you can use the nuclear annihilation and the Zerg to get the last two Thrashers. Obviously, everything you said is what I would go for as well. The Earth Splitters are basically a cheat code for this kind of mission, and as long as you build them in the base area, they're not that susceptible to getting nuked. Prestige-wise, do you agree, or do you still prefer the first one?
I think either one is fine.
Either one's fine.
Yeah.
All right then. Well, it doesn't matter. Just use whichever you prefer. I prefer the third one, so you can just nuke the last two hybrids. But that's on you. Let's move on. Artanis for me is actually A. His Tempest can just go in from the side and just snipe everything. And regarding the hybrids, you can just use Disintegrate or shoot them from range so that they aren't able to just get in close enough that their nuke will damage you. And if you're up against Zerg, you can just use Shield Overcharge when engaging and you're getting hit with a Parasitic Bomb. Or you can just use Archon Dues to snipe the Vipers in the last base and also the third base. And if you're more afraid of getting nuked, you don't think that you have the attention span to dodge your Tempest, which is kind of weird because once you have Warp Stargates, you pretty much never have to look away from your Tempests. If something gets in your base, I guess you can use your Mineral Bank to spam cannons in your base. Cannons and Zealots to hold off whatever defense to hold off whatever attack that comes your way. I think it's strong enough for A. And yeah, like I said, if you aren't confident about dodging, you can always use no prestige or even second prestige so that you can just teleport your Tempest away or just have that nice Garden Shell. What do you think?
My issue with Artanis is Tempests have big hitboxes and they're slow. So you have to like keep moving, and sometimes, especially if they're the only ones in range, you might get like several nukes near each other in succession.
That's
not
true.
Necessarily on top not necessarily on top of the Tempest, but like they might
The
be
chain
nearby.
targeting. Yes.
Yes. So
I see that.
P3 allows you to fight waves better, but you don't get Guardian Shell, so you have less room for mistakes. P0 allows you to get hit once, which is good, but at the same time, you have a much harder time dealing with waves. And since this map is really fast, you don't actually have that many minerals to spam cannons and zealots until like later, quite later. When you're already in like the third area, or maybe even the fourth. I put him in B because I don't think he can deal with the wave. Like it's you have to pick your poison. He's gonna suffer in either base defense or the Tempest might get nuked and you lose everything. No Guardian Shell.
Well, I guess that's where the second prestige comes in handy, because if you are getting attacked, you can just teleport your Tempests back home and actually have stuff to deal with it. So maybe that's a way to mitigate the damage. Or
kind of.
Yeah.
I
just don't see his issues as big enough to put him in the same tier as Abathur and Alarak, because those guys really have no means to mitigate damage from nukes, whereas I guess Alarak can teleport away, but you know.
Like if you're fighting Zerg, how are you gonna fit?
That's true. Zerg is probably the worst one here. So you're saying,
Archon drop him,
but that's third prestige, so he won't have Guardian Shell. That's true.
Exactly.
So you're saying that his defense isn't good enough to warrant an A.
His defense with non P3.
Yes.
And then when he is P3, his Tempests are still slow.
And they're vulnerable because they don't have Guardian Shell. All right,
yes.
If you say so. Let's put Artanis down in B. So which prestige do you prefer here?
3.
3?
Because
I
would say if you are confident in like keeping an eye on them, and I think as long as the Tempests are not stopped, like their acceleration is slow, but once they're moving, they're not as slow. So if you keep moving, they won't you'll be able to dodge nukes more easily.
I guess regardless of what your prestige is, your worst enemy is probably the fungal, either from the infestor or from the red hybrid, the hybrid behemoth, because that will slow down your Tempests even more, and that will make them more susceptible to nukes, even the hybrid nukes. So I guess B is fine. I still think he's A, but B is not that much of a stretch. Let's move on. Dehaka for me might be controversial. I had him in S initially, but I think the fact that random nukes and explosions could slow down your creepers. Of course, your strategy here is basically like Arcturus, but with the creeper hosts that can get hit, can get nuked while they're in transit at the Thrashers. I think it's just ever so slightly below S. But defense, you can even use pack leaders for offense and clear out most of the stuff so that your creepers have an easier path to the Thrashers. But for me, he's just barely not S, just A. What do you think?
I think you don't really have to look at the creepers. So no, you don't have to look at the locusts. You just send them in a direction, and then you're only looking at your host pretty much the whole time. If you're fast enough, you can control click your creepers and then right click a Thrasher, and your pack leaders will deal with all the attack waves. Mervar clears bases. They can get hit by hybrid nukes and they won't have a problem. And you don't have to venture too far out until the last set of Thrashers. So your creeper host can be sitting at one of the naturals.
That's actually what I did. Just sit in the base. They can't reach it.
You only have to venture out for the last area, and by that time you have your max. You have to be maxed, and then you pretty much maxed. So
yes, my only concern with that is sometimes the locusts or the creepers do get intercepted by whatever, either a nuke or a flying unit that just blocks their pathing, and you take too long for me. But it's not that bad. It's still really good. I mean, A is still really good for me. It's just barely not S.
I put him in S because I think you can easily clear everything that's in the way, and then you get free shots.
I guess
you'll be clearing so fast.
I guess. Yeah, if you clear
the distance between the creepers and the distance between where you're launching creepers and where the Thrashers are is so short that there's not you might get nuked once, but not every time. So yeah.
Okay, if you say so. I just barely didn't have an S, but if you're really confident you're S, I guess I might as well put him in S.
I have a lot of A's, so I put Dehaka S because he's above the A's that I have. That's why. That's all.
I also have a lot of A's, but Artanis is one of my A's. Let's move on. Phoenix, where do you have him?
So Phoenix, I did a 100% Caldalis. So you don't even have to fight the air units. You just clear enough things to activate the Thrashers, and then you run in with Caldalis, right-click the Thrashers until you win. If there are too many units in the way, you just like clear them out first and then let him continue. So basically, I just spent the whole time looking at my shell farm, and I split them so that even if one gets nuked, I have another farm somewhere else. So yeah, it does require a bit of work. If you choose to use other champions, it'll be even stronger. So you don't have to use just Caldalis. You can also use Phoenix suits to clear attack waves and stuff. I put him in A.
I actually had Phoenix in B, but I did have a run with Phoenix. My ally was Karax, and we had a really easy time. I assumed it was easy because my Karax ally was passively buffing me with Unity Barrier and faster production. So you're saying that even if I didn't have my Phoenix ally, it would have made it just as fine? Or
I don't know what
Karax
strategy
ally?
you went for.
I basically did what you said, except I added more champions. And it was really easy. I didn't face any problems at all. And the only reason I didn't put him in A as well, I mean, you guys saw that run. The only reason I didn't have Phoenix in A as well is because I thought my Karax ally was buffing me to the point where it seemed silly. So, if you're saying that, yes, that probably would have been the result regardless, then I guess I don't have too strong of an objection to put Phoenix in A because I saw it with my own eyes. It's like really easy.
His champs don't care about explosions. The shells do.
The shells
The
do.
champs don't.
Yes. I did exactly what you described. I just had my shell farm in the main or in one of the expansions, and I just basically sent their the champions on their merry way to clear whatever it is they need to clear, and it worked out really well. Like I said, I just assumed that it worked that well because my Karax ally was buffing me. Turns out, if you're saying that it would have been that way regardless, then yeah, I guess that is A tier. Prestige wise, sorry.
I think it would have.
It would have. Okay, prestige wise, you want the second one here, right? Because that makes the most sense with the champion strategy.
Yes.
All right, Hot Horner. Where do you have him?
So with P2, because you're sniping objectives, you want to use P2, and then you have Magmines for attack waves. You have Strike Fighters to clear like missile turrets or
static defense.
any static D, and then like you have Column the Fleet, which will take out a lot of stuff that may be in the way. And if you use Wraiths, which are very fast, you can basically like pick off the lone detector that might be in the area, and then you get to get free shots on the Thrashers, basically.
Yes.
And you repeat. And you can teleport if there's any trouble.
Yes.
I put Han Horner in A.
Oh, that's pretty high. I had Hot Horner in B because I think yes they can dodge, but it's just I'm concerned that they don't have any means to mitigate the damage if they do get hit by a nuke. That's my only concern. Like if they destroy a hybrid, or for example if their ally destroys a hybrid while their fleet is nearby, they have no means of mitigating the damage.
That's on you for not looking, because you like once you're attacking, you don't need to look anywhere because your production is instant, right? You don't have to look anywhere except your army.
It's not for lack of looking. It's just when you're moving around and you're right-clicking on a Thrasher, it's really easy to not mind your peripheral vision of your ally right-clicking down a Thrasher or a hybrid just nearby.
You really shouldn't attack the Thrashers until the hybrids are gone for like any commander.
For like
you don't want
commander?
to attack.
So how do you
for any commander, you don't attack the Thrashers until the hybrids are gone.
How do you get rid of the hybrids for Han and Horner?
You have Strike Fighters.
How many airstrikes do you need? Because the
Why
hybrids.
would you not make airstrikes? Because it's P2.
No. I'm not saying.
You don't. No. You can hit them until they're low. You see their HP, it's red, and then you fly away. Then you use Strike Fighter.
So you just okay. So what you're saying is use your army to get the hybrids at a low health, and then you finish them off with airstrikes.
Yes. So if it's a destroyer, destroyers are weak. You don't have to care about their explosion. If they're reavers, they don't hit air. And then for the big ones, the behemoth doesn't hit air, so you ignore them. The dominator is the only scary one. There's one dominator in the bottom right, and it is in the center. So if you hit the Thrashers from the sides, the dominator will not move towards you.
Isn't it just easier for the third set to just fly around the sides and snipe the Thrashers?
Yes. So you don't actually have to deal with the dominator. And then for the last set, the Dominators are in the center. So if you hit the Thrashers from the back, then you barely you may have to like fly around, but you don't actually have to kill them if you don't want to. But you can, if you want to kill them, then you just like hit them a few times, then strike fighter them, or use Calm the Fleet or something, or a space station to finish them off.
I guess, yeah, but my primary concern still has not been addressed. They have no means of mitigating the damage if your army gets nuked, or if they get cornered. It's not easy to just
like everyone don't get nuked, right? And you have teleport.
I guess teleport is a thing. Okay. I guess Hot and Horror doesn't really have a commander issue. It's mostly player issue if they're not using their teleports. I'm just wary of putting them as high as A when one nuke will just ruin their day. Unlike, for example, for Dehaka, if the nuke destroys your creepers, you can just set a new set. If a nuke destroys
destroy the host, if the nuke lands on your host, that's the same thing. You're screwed.
I don't send my swarm hosts forward like for 90% of the game. I just send my swarm hosts forward for the last 2 Thrashers in the rear for Dehaka. As I was saying, for Fenix, you don't really care that you get nuked because you have way more shells that Amon can finish off. The same cannot be said for Hot and Horner. So I would put this at, I guess, A star is as far as I'd go, because you kind of still have to be wary, because Hot and Horner is a commander that needs to construct depots, get upgrades, target airstrikes, and that does take attention away from your fleet. And from my experience,
those can all be used with hotkeys except the supply depots. You hotkey your top bar, you hotkey your production, you hotkey your upgrades.
When you target your airstrikes, you need to look where you're targeting, and when your eyes are on the target, they are not on your army.
Why would you not look at the screen that you're shooting at? Like, you're not shooting the right side when you're fighting the left side. You're shooting the left side when your wraiths are on the left side. So you just press your hotkey and you click on the screen that you're currently looking at.
It's not that easy, because when you're targeting stuff with your airstrike, it's not necessarily the same exact spot as your army or as your fleet. And again, it takes your attention away.
Not the commander then.
Sorry?
That's not the commander then. That's the player. You can't fault the commander for that.
I don't know.
If you choose not to use hotkeys for your top
I'm not saying... Wait. Hold on. I'm not saying don't use hotkeys. I'm not saying I don't use hotkeys. I'm saying you have to physically look away or look at a different spot, because even though, yes, you can have the entirety of your screen, you can have your fleet in your peripheral vision while you're targeting, they are still in your peripheral vision. And not all players have the presence of mind to see the big red targeting spot of a nuke, especially on a map like Void Thrashing, because Void Thrashing is also red, like the targeting spot for the nuke.
The going nuclear nuke?
Yeah, that's my main concern for it, because I know. Yes, watch them, because for 90% of the time you are watching them. That's true. I'm just saying you don't need to look away from your army for a whole minute for them to get nuked. Usually, in my case, it's like 1 second. 1 second I look away. When I look back, they're getting targeted. That's the reality for me.
So usually in any mutation with going nuclear, if you're doing a sniping thing, you don't look at your base until your
under attack
units are in the safe zone, like in the dead space.
That's true.
Where they have less chance of being targeted.
That's true.
You don't actually, unless you're really good, you don't want a macro in the middle of a fight.
Yes, that's true. So I guess just fly them to a safe zone. That's also true. So as long as you fly to the safe zone, you shouldn't really be worried about nukes. Okay. I'll put them in A star. Because I'm still concerned, because one mistake is all it takes to lose your entire fleet, and the same cannot be said for the other guys in S and A. So that's fine. Yeah, A star. Okay, I guess still an A. Just less room for error. That's all. That's my entire concern. Room for error. Anyway, I guess in the end it's still an A. Prestige wise, you want the second prestige because you want a lot of air units. That's true. We can agree with that. Next, Karax. I also have an A, because he'll just do basically what Hot and Horner does, except he has Unity Barrier and the dodging thing for the Mirages and Spear of Adun. So I guess you're kind of vulnerable in the same way that Hot and Horner stuff are, but again, you have Unity Barrier and you have the dodging thing for the Mirages. And I think the Mirages are faster than Hot and Horner's air units, so that's even easier for them. That's why I do have them in A, not S though, because they're still risking their forces. There's still a risk level to it. You can get hit once, but not 3 times, for example. What do you think?
I have the same reasons, except I put him in S because he has Unity Barrier. So with Unity Barrier, you can
You
like
think they're S?
make.
S for me is
Well, I did.
basically risk-free. It's not risk-free.
My S is you can wipe the map easily with no help.
Mm.
No, like easily. The key thing is easily, because you make some static D at home, you never look at your base again. Then you make mirages. They can fly towards your other mirages around the back or something. And if they get hit somehow, they still won't die. And then you will pretty much always look at them, and they get free hits. You get top bars to clear the next areas. You can blast hybrid to death from orbit if you need to.
That all sounds like you need to work though. Weren't you the one who said that S commanders basically don't require work?
No, I didn't say that.
Yes, you do.
This one, you don't have to work hard. You gotta work no matter what, because according to you, building ESOs is a lot of work.
Yes, I stand by that because
I don't think it's a lot of work.
Work for me is never a metric for S, but it is for you. So
I know. So it's about how easy you can do it, and with like Unity Barrier and his super good top bar, it's like much better than Han and Horner. Same clan.
I agree. That's why I had Han and Horner in B and Karax in A. I guess my ratings are just lower than yours in general.
Mine are always the same. It's like the A is pretty much you can do like 80% of the work. S is you can do like 100% with like if your ally stands there, you can still do everything and you won't struggle.
Well, I thought we already agreed that you can still do 100% of the work with A and B commanders. It's just more work, right?
You can always do 100% with F commanders. You just need to be good.
Exactly. So that's not really a metric anyway.
See, I think you should clarify the metrics again, or like put them in text or something. Otherwise, there's just like, because arbitrarily moving someone up or down is, I thought that's not what the letters are. That's not what the letters mean. That would be relative to each other, and that's not what we're doing.
Yeah, that's not what we're doing.
It's relative to the mutation.
Yeah, it is. But the thing is, I don't have them in text because it's not. It's for me. It's not
just put it in text on the screen for like 10 seconds.
You're gonna have to ask
at the beginning or something.
You're gonna have to ask some editor to do that. I'm not sure.
If you can ask him to put pictures of things in, you can like add some words. It's not that hard.
Okay, Zeus put some words there.
Just like a picture.
Okay, Zeus put some words there. There you go. All right. Anyway, going back. Not sure about S.
I have 5 S's.
I can see. I have 4 S's. I can see the case for S, but for me, S is basically risk-free, not tiny risk. Karax is tiny risk. It's kind of closer to A.
Yeah, well, I put 5 more mutators on top of this with propagators, and it was okay. 3 void thrashing mutations, and it was all right because it's Karax, because he's good. 3
void thrashing mutations. Oh, you combine 3 mutations
at the same time.
All right.
And since it's Karax, because he's good. If it weren't for props, it'd be even easier. The props were the hard part, but this one doesn't have props. So this one, like the nukes aren't really threatening. Vipers aren't scary. Storm isn't scary.
You can just fly out of the way, and you can just regen the damage. I guess the regen is also a big factor in this because you can just heal the damage from normal attacks. But the normal attacks aren't the threatening part here. It's the nukes.
It's like you're so fast you can dodge the nukes. If you get hit, you have Unity Bearer and the Mirage dodge.
Yeah.
And you're really not looking away from your screen or
no, you're
a
not.
lot of the time.
Unless
you're looking at
building pylons. Because you do still need to build pylons. But then you can't fly to the safe zone.
Build instantly. You shift click like 5 pylons and then I'm fine now. They build instantly.
Yes. I guess you can do that. Is it S though? I mean, we're splitting hairs here. I do think he is that good, but I'm just wondering whether the risk factor is enough to put him out of S, because is he closer to Arcturus and Dehaka or Fenix and Han and Horner? And in my assessment, Artanis. What prestige did you use here?
No. I don't remember. No. For just this mutation, I used 2.
You used 2 different prestiges?
I used 3 for the triple
second
one
prestige.
With propagators.
Okay, so
I
you
used the second prestige for this mutation.
Second prestige for this one. So your mirages will be cheaper, but you don't have static defense. So when you're getting attacked, you have to fly to the attack path and use Solar Lance. Or do you do something else?
I Solar Lance.
Alright. Still sounds like an A to me, though. I guess ultimately, well, you know, first things first. If it's not DMS, it's not S. But like ultimately, I usually just default to or defer to whatever you say. So I guess S is not too much of a stretch for me. Yeah, I guess I can put him in S. Why not? Yeah, why not? Why not put him in S? Oh yeah, I know why. Because if people get angry, they get angry at me, not you. People complain at the tier list. You don't know what you're talking about. Oh my goodness. All right, fine. Let's put him in S. Prestige wise, I also think second prestige is better here because you get your mirages faster. Kerrigan, where do you have him?
Kerrigan, I put her in A because she can clear entire areas with her immobilization wave. You really don't need anything except her. And then if you have extra Ultralists or Hydras, like that's cool. If they die, it doesn't matter that much because you just need Kerrigan to be alive. And the hard part is that Kerrigan might, like if you're not careful, you might lose Kerrigan to one of the hybrid explosions. So you have to be very careful when the hybrid's about to die and you just like slide away. Don't jump away, slide away. So you deal the last attack with a regular, you deal the last bit of damage with a regular attack and you slide away to get to safety. And yeah.
What's the difference?
So I put her in A.
What's the difference between sliding and jumping? What's the difference between sliding and jumping?
The Q and the W. The Q, if you jump, you might get nuked while you're in the air.
And that doesn't happen with the sliding? It doesn't? Wait, she's invulnerable when sliding?
You get away faster.
Oh, so it's faster. That's interesting.
A little bit faster.
I always thought the jump was faster. The slide is faster.
It's because the jump, you have to like click a spot, whereas the slide, you just click a general direction. So if you don't click like max range of the jump, then you might not jump far enough. But slide always goes, the distance the slide goes is always far enough.
Interesting. Oh well. Because yeah, it always goes far enough. Okay. Hey, he's a little high for me actually. Because yeah, her units don't really deal well with stuff like storm.
You don't need them.
You don't need them?
I did this no mining, so if you can do it no mining, I think with things it'll be even easier.
So you definitely just spam Omega Rooms. Oh wait, you don't even use Omega Room because you did no mining.
Yeah, so you just dodge, slide away. That's why I did this. I slid away a lot to not die to nukes. But yeah, so if you have units if you're using P0 or something, P0, I would say use P0 and then use Ultras. If they get nuked, they have a second life. And if they die, that's unfortunate, but they're not super important. Critical. And then you can like make a lot of links too. If they die, then they die. You can shred some armor and then deal some damage. And okay, see you in the afterlife. As long as Kerrigan doesn't die.
If Kerrigan dies, what happens?
Yeah, that's why I'll put her in A, because Kerrigan cannot die. So like you have to be careful. Really, really careful with Kerrigan.
I don't know. It sounds more like a B to me, to be honest. With Kerrigan dies.
Because if you the map is small, so if you immobilization wave each area, everything is dead except the big air units, the big units basically, and the hybrids. Everything else is gone. So, and all the self-destructions will also go away immediately. So you deal with a lot fewer explosions in that sense as well.
You though, I guess. Well, from me, the little explosions aren't really the ones that matter. The ones that matter are the hybrid nukes and the random nukes.
Yeah, and as long as Kerrigan's alive, they don't really matter.
I don't know.
Because Kerrigan is the main damage dealer.
How much health is remaining on the temple when you finish this?
Let me check the original run.
And what enemy composition did you fight?
Let me see. What was his name? I used P3.
So how do you slide? P3? How do you slide?
I don't slide. I slid when I used no mining. But for P3, I don't remember what I did. I did this years ago. Let me see. So for this one, I used Brute Lords against Reaver Disruptor, I think. I used Brute Lords. Brute Lord Link. So then it's like the hybrids are far away, so you can snipe them. Yeah. If you're going for ultras, then you can also just hide in the Omegas.
Wouldn't it be harder to do that if the enemy was, not Protoss? Because Zerg has Disabling Cloud, has Lurkers, Swarm Host, and Terran Siege Tanks, or...
Immobilization Wave, all gone. One hit, everything under 200 HP is dead, which the units you just mentioned have under 200 HP, so they all die.
Or said less than 200 HP?
Vipers. So you said Vipers, Siege Tanks, all of them gone because Immobilization Wave.
Wait, hold on. Where do you use Immobilization Wave? Outside the base or inside?
Inside.
So you walk in.
Oh, you have so many. You have so many of... With P3, you use one at the front and then later use one in the middle. So you need two.
Okay.
But you have by the time 20 minutes hits, you have 5 of them, right? So you only need 4. You have second area, third area, and then fourth. Pretty much that's it.
So you need 4.
So if you get to 20 minutes, you get a 5th one, and that's free. It doesn't really matter where you use it.
That's like a very tight time.
I had at the end I had 2,200 HP on the temple or fortress.
That's a lot.
Because throw brood lords at them. I mean, throw broodlings at them. So yeah. Let me check. Oh, suppose I deleted it already. Oh well. I don't remember how much HP I have on the no mining one, but that's different. So that doesn't really matter.
He's still a little high for me. I guess, yeah, mobilization wave does. It's like it's gonna be like a cradle of death situation or a lock and load situation where they just deletes most of the enemies. But the real consequence was the hybrid explosions and the random nukes. I guess with Omega Arms you can mitigate a lot of that.
Also with P3 you can snipe them from a distance. You don't have to jump. I forgot you don't have to jump. You can just poke. You can just shoot them.
Yeah.
You have to jump in either. Like, because you can walk up to the front door for the second and third area and you'll still cover the entire area. The fourth area you can't jump in the middle, so you just use it twice. You can even use it.
Hold on. If you are on the attack path between the second area and the fourth area and use mobilization wave there, will it also hit half of the fourth area or just a tiny portion?
Like,
I think it's 30 range. Right?
You will hit. So when I use this, I hit everything on the left side, and the only thing that was left were the ultras and the brood lords on the left side.
Oh, so you did go up against Zerg.
For the no mining one, that's what I did.
Interesting.
Against Zerg, and I did not see a single Viper. They all died. So
because the Vipers are usually at the front. Yeah, the
they
four
just
Vipers
died to
at the
immobilization
front.
wave.
There are another 2 Vipers in the rear, right? Oh, the
yes, they died to subsequent immobilization waves.
Interesting. That's really interesting.
With no mining, you also have a longer cooldown, so I had fewer immobilization waves.
Okay, if you say so. Let's Kerrigan an A. Prestige wise, what do you want? What do you want here?
I think you can use anything that has Omega Worms.
So just
I don't think you should use 2.
You need a stronger immobilization that actually does knock out the Vipers. So you want no prestige or the third prestige? Do you want the first prestige here?
No, because you won't have Omega Worms.
So you only want the first prestige if you're, for example, doing no mining.
Yeah.
All right.
Which is beaming basically. So.
Okay. Nova for me is A because she can just walk around, not worry. Just use nukes, and when everything's cleared out, like Liberators in or whatever you desire, and just clean up the Thrashers. A.
Yeah, same. I think you can use P3 if you want to be safer, but if you use P1 for more Liberators I guess
more freedom.
Cheaper airstrike, technically cheaper because you won't put any mastery in the nuke. You'll have a regular priced 700 airstrike. You can do that as well. The good thing about more Liberators is you get rid of the Thrashers faster, so you stay out of the danger areas.
That's true.
You get out of the danger areas sooner. But you don't actually need that many Liberators.
Yeah.
So
the reason I didn't put Nova in S, by the way, is because there's definitely a risk factor to your army. You can absolutely use the airlift to get him out, but there's a cooldown on it. So and you have to walk back. So that's why they're only A. Prestige wise, you want the first one or
third
3.
one?
Okay, either
one
one.
or 3. I don't think it matters too much.
Yeah. Well, third one is safer. Raynor, where do we have him?
So Raynor, so if you're going like bio against self-destruction and stuff, you're gonna have to dodge a lot of self-destruction plus nukes, which is not really good. If you're going for air, this is a fast map and air takes a while to get going, so you better use your cooldowns well. And Banshees are really fragile, so if they get stormed or hit by those Vipers, they will die. Battle cruisers are kind of slow unless you have the accelerator. They can teleport, but they're kind of slow, and it takes a while to get enough of them. So it's like by the time you have enough to meaningfully reduce the cooldown, the game is already over, pretty much.
Yes.
I put them in B. Put him in B. He's still fine.
Yeah, I also put Raynor in B. The Hyperion is going to be the bulk of the work here, and by work I don't mean destroying or getting kills. By work I mean deleting the Vipers, the static defense, so that your whatever choice of army you go for has an easier time cleaning up the rest. I actually think that Vikings are low-key usable here if you use your Hyperion to clear out the dangerous units, so that your Vikings just fly in from the side and just snipe the Thrashers. Similar to how, not really similar to how any of these previous ones would do it, but like maybe similar to how Alarak would do it, but without an anchor.
Yeah, I think that will work.
That's B. That's basically where Alarak is. Defense, you have bunkers, you can put down spider mines, you can use the Dusk Wings for the defense. You can also use it for offense. That'll work just fine. Alright. Raynor, B tier. Stet Boy, Zerglings lol, Infestors lol, S tier.
And I didn't even use Infestors. I just used Zerglings.
Zerglings.
So with Stetmann, I got an achievement I've never done before, which is I got a perfect fortress.
Perfect. Wait, that's an achievement? I didn't know that.
No, like not in-game achievement. It's a personal achievement.
All right, very cool.
Where like Hammer owes me because not a scratch on her fortress.
That's very cool. When was the last
I put him in
time I
S.
did a no fortress damage run? I might have to do that at some point with all commanders. Yeah, unanimous S for Step Boy here. Stukov, where do you have him?
So I used Lord of the Horde, and it's fine because he doesn't care, but he does care because
he does lose stuff.
He does lose stuff, but you don't care, and it's really slow. It's really slow, but it's like you don't worry. So
gets the job done.
If you're going the mech route, it's better, but then you have to like use Banshees maybe, or Liberators, or some air units which aren't as good. I think when I used Lord of the Horde, I think I should have added some air units as well, but I didn't because I was nubbed. And the fortress was like in the super red. I remember like when I finished, it was really slow because I didn't use mech units. So I bet if you'd use mech units, it'd be a lot better.
But more work.
Yeah, I put him in A.
A for me as well. He gets the job done. You need to use Alexander to clear out dangerous units like Vipers, Siege Tanks, High Templar, Colossus. But for the rest of the stuff, Infestors, you have to clear Infestors also. For the rest of the stuff, your Trickle will be enough at some point. You can even overwhelm them with the Infrastructure, Poklusk. Yeah, that works fine. You can even use Brood Queens here to take out more stuff. So yes, A tier for me as well. Swann, I have him in A. He can just use Wraiths. They fly around. I think they have that damage mitigation thing. I'm not sure if I recall correctly. It is damage mitigation. He can also use Concentrated Beam, Pulse Cannon to knock out a large part of the defenses. He also has Static Defense, pretty good, defending. Not S because his Wraiths are still vulnerable. If they get hit, it's not that fast to replace them. What do you think?
He follows this similar path, similar strategy as Karax and Han Horner, which is basically you snipe the static defenses and then you go in with Wraiths. It's 20% evade, not damage mitigation. Right. You don't get hit 20%
I apologize.
of the time. But still, it's good. It's useful. I put him in A.
All right, unanimous A. Prestige-wise, you want no prestige or the second prestige?
I would say 0.
Yeah, no
like
prestige.
P0. Some people, I think the gas will. It's like some people say the gas doesn't matter. I think it kind of does.
Really?
Especially on a fast map, it doesn't matter that much, but like when I use P0, I can get enough with 3 gases, but with P2 I need all 4.
Okay.
And one of the gases will get nuked, just so you know. In case you don't remember. The one
in the expansion, the left side, the left expansion gas, it does get nuked.
The right expansion, right gas will also get nuked.
Yes. Also, you need to take out the Vipers because obviously they're the biggest threat to your Wraith outside of the mutators themselves. So you need to either target Concentrated Beam, fly in a factory, and then right-click down the Vipers. It's worth it. Or just sacrifice.
Or you can check my guide where you can look at a specific point on the terrain and you can point your mouse there, and it will shoot the Vipers.
That works too.
I did some research on this.
Very nice.
You can hit the Vipers perfectly with several concentrated beams by looking at a specific spot on the terrain near your base. So you don't need vision far away. It's all near your base. For player 1 and player 2, I did for both.
Very nice.
You can shoot the Vipers without even seeing them.
All right, it works for me. Let's move on. Tychus, where do you have him?
Tychus, if I don't know if you should use P2 or not. I think you can just use P0. I think I did P0 versus Classic Mech level 1, and it was fine. So I think with full power, it's even better. So yeah, I put him in A. Although I don't have a problem with S because he is that strong.
I did put him in S. He feels like one of those just play normally kind of commanders. Obviously, you want to use your big red button in the last base. Or, if you want to take your time, you can use the big red button in the third base and then the last base if you get it again. But I do think he is S because he has an easier time dodging, especially if you go with the second prestige because you're literally controlling one guy. guy. And you have 3 charges of medevac. So I think it's not risk-free, but there are a lot of mitigating ways. Or even if you lose, even if you lose an outlaw, you can just bring him back. It's not a significant dent in your damage dealing ability.
With Lone Wolf, he doesn't even die to a nuke because he takes half damage.
Nice.
He can take the hit and he'll still be fine.
Even if it lands right on top of him, like the
Isn't it 375 damage? Isn't it 750 in the middle, or is it 9?
I think
if it's 950 or 750, it's half damage, so he still won't die. Like Tychus has 600 light in the beginning.
He goes in with a
So
big
he
nuke.
still
Like, ow, that hurts. My goodness.
So if you're using Lone Wolf, you won't even die to a nuke.
Yeah, and if you're using Lone Wolf and you have Blaze, he takes 30 damage to a nuke. he gets hit. He gets hit when he's like, "Ow, that hurts."
You don't have alt gear though.
That's true. I guess that's not available with second prestige. If you use other prestiges, then anyway, for me, it's still S.
All right.
Okay, put Tychus in S. So now you have 6 S's. Vorazun for me is just wait for time stop and then right click the Thrashers, rinse and repeat. There is a risk factor in getting your Dark Templar back, or destroying the Thrashers in a timely fashion. For me, that's B because the defense is a little hairy for Vorazun, especially in the early game. What do you think?
I think if she can spend all her resources on defense and she only needs time stop for offense, that's pretty good.
That is pretty good.
My concern with her is not the defense. It's more like if you let the Shadow Guards attack whatever they want and you don't split them, they might kill a hybrid.
They might destroy.
That's the problem.
That's why they're not.
That's the problem. And then so my issue is that, and sometimes it's like, and when you time stop, you have to split them into groups, and you have to do it really quickly.
Yes.
So that's not, especially the last part. Like, of course, you can always wait 4 minutes and like finish off that last Thrasher safely. But so for defense, if you're fighting air, you just make more Corsairs, you black hole them, and then you'll be fine. I put Vorazun A.
Oh, A. I had Vorazun in B. I actually had Vorazun in B, but you know what? I actually don't object strongly to A this time because, I guess I was still stuck in the mindset of pre-prestige where I didn't have the free respawning Shadow Guard. With a free respawning Shadow Guard, that is absolutely A. You just wait for time stop and then just let the Shadow Guard do all the work for you. Okay, A is fine for me. I think without prestige, she would be B. That's what I was thinking, but you only need 1 prestige here. Keeper of Shadows. What I did before prestige was just I made pure Dark Templar and just regrouped them, put them in 4 control groups, and then hit time stop. Each control group right clicks 1 Thrasher, then runs back. I didn't research Shadow Fury. I didn't even research it. I probably should, but I didn't even do that anyway. Zagara, where do we have him?
She can Scourge or Corruptor everything to death, and you just get free Banelings at home. If you're using P2, then you have Zagara or aberrations, and you have a lot of minerals, so you just make a lot of static D to defend at home.
Yes.
If you use P2, you can frenzy and take out several Thrashers really quickly. I put Zagara in A.
You know what? I also put Zagara in A. I did have Zagara in A. Yeah, there we go. Do you prefer the Scourge or the Corruptor method here?
I like the Scourge method more.
Yeah.
Because if you're using P1, you get a lot more of them.
That's true. For me, I prefer the Corruptor method, especially against Zerg, because you're not susceptible to a parasitic bomb destroying everything you have. Or against Protoss, you're not susceptible to a single storm destroying everything you have. And the Corruptors are really
I think
cheap.
either one works.
Yeah, I agree.
You can use both.
I agree. You can definitely use
Throw
both.
in some Corruptors.
I think you remember our game. I think I said this to you too. I only used Corruptors because I got bored of Scourge. I just wanted variety, and it turns out the variety was just as fun as Scourge. So anyway, we agree with A. Zeratul, Cadence good. You can also use the Void Ally to dodge stuff or fly around the bases. You can even do just actually, you have so many options. You can do triple blink. You can go the Legendary Legion, that'll still work. You can go Void Templar, that'll still work because they have if you have the third fragment, that is, they have the revive thing. If you want the 3rd prestige, that'll also work. You can just use Tornado and spam that until there are no more Thrashers. Did you do mining here?
No.
You didn't do no mining, or you did no mining?
I did no mining with 4 commanders.
With 4 commanders, that's awesome.
Zeratul is the first one. Zagara, Kerrigan, and Vorazun.
That's awesome. Okay. Zeratul S for me. How about you?
Yeah, I would use P3 because it's a fast map, and you just project cannons for extra help. If they get nuked, they get nuked. Who cares?
Yeah. All right. Zeratul S tier. Do we have a double S?
Because they're environmental mutators, no.
Yeah, I was thinking that if there were none, Arcturus is definitely double S. Who's top of S then?
Thanks, Arcturus, still at the top.
I was actually thinking maybe Stetboy, but I think our splitters are just so good. They are risk free essentially, and you can even contaminate destruct the attack waves, so you don't even have to deal with attack waves. It's insane. Who's second in S?
Stetmann.
Stetboy. Yeah, I agree. Third, Dehaka or Tychus?
Wait, Dehaka's Tychus.
Tychus.
Tychus, Zeratul.
Zeratul.
Well, actually, no. Dehaka before Zeratul.
Dehaka before Zeratul. Okay.
Because you kill most things from your base. Zeratul has to go out to the field.
I like how Karax ended up being bottom of S. Like that kind of lends credence to my earlier argument that he doesn't feel like he has more of a risk than the other guys in S. So you know what? I am okay with this. Karax being bottom of S is probably the closest I can get to a concession, which is fine. Who's top of A? There are a lot of good guys here. Vorazun?
No, Fenix.
Phoenix? Wow. He is really strong.
Phoenix, because he's the least prone to mistakes.
I guess he's the most robust he's the most robust.
Forgiving?
Most forgiving for mistakes. I agree. I can agree. I can see that. Yeah, he is the most forgiving. I mean, Stukov is also pretty forgiving. Is he second in A?
I think that's okay, because you'll do a lot just by pointing your psi emitter in a direction.
That's true. Vorazun? I already said Vorazun B, by the way, but I completely forgot that, yes, he does have respawning Shadow Guard. Kind of crazy thing to forget, because every time Void Thrasher comes up, I automatically think, spam Dark Templar, right-click, Rin. I forgot that she has Shadow Guard, or respawning Shadow Guard now. Anyway, who's third in A?
Vorazun.
Then
these guys, they have to go in, but
I think Zagara. Zagara's more forgiving, because her guys are cheaper. He can just send another wave. She's like weak Dehaka, sort of.
Yeah, kind of.
Who's next?
Then Nova.
Yeah,
Just
Nova.
P3.
Yeah, that's also close to risk-free. Then Swann.
Kerrigan, because clear whole bases.
Okay. And Swann.
Then Han Horner.
All right, yeah. Again, I had Han and Horner in B. Getting them to bottom of A, I can get with that. I can get with that. Who's top of B?
Artanis.
Oh yeah, it has to be Artanis. I had Artanis in A, so having them top of B, yeah, that's not a bad deal. And then this one's hard. The bottom three
these three.
They have, I guess, Raynor at least has a Hyperion for getting rid of the dangerous stuff.
I think Alarak is better. The mothership is.
That's true.
Like,
mothership
you can take a parasitic bomb to the face.
That's true.
Just don't be near your destroyers.
Yes. Although if you're really good at microwing, if you get hit with a parasitic bomb as Raynor, you can just isolate the target unit, then right click it, or attack the targeted unit, so that you don't have to deal with it anyway. I think he's still better than Abathur.
Yeah. So Abathur, he has the tools. It's just hard to use. I hate using Abathur against self-destruction. It's just so painful.
Yeah. And I think I did have Abathur in C, but yeah, bottom of B is not that bad either. Okay, turns out it wasn't such a big miss for me for this week. I was counting the commanders I got wrong, and like this is not a bad resolution for me. There are 4 guys in B, so I don't think it's worth doing a synergy section, since each of these commanders can pretty much do the job on their own. Abathur has the hardest time, but he can still do it. B is not bad, as Tychus said at the beginning. It's just harder than the rest of these guys. Personally, would just use Arcturus, just not care, or Stetboy. Stetboy doesn't care either. Anyway, guys, watch Tychus' channel, especially that guide he did with Swann on the targeting of the laser drill on the Vipers. If you're really interested in not worrying about Vipers anymore, I will link it down below, and I'll see you guys next time.